This expression is going to be a little bit more difficult to factorize than the previous quadratic expressions we've seen. What makes this one more difficult is the fact that there's a number now in front of the x squared. The proper technical way of thinking about that is that the coefficient a, as in ax squared, is bigger than 1. Of course, there was always a number there, but previously it was the number 1. Now it's something bigger than 1, and we can see it written down. And that is going to change things. If we look at our previous method and try to use it, we'll see that it doesn't actually work. So a pair of brackets, x and x, factor pairs of 4, and now straight away we're going to see there's no pair that will add up to make 11x. So we need to try something different. This is what we do this time. We take that number there, the 6, and the 4, and we multiply them together first. And now we're going to work out the factor pairs of 24. In reality, this isn't actually anything different from what we did before. Previously, the coefficient of x squared was always a 1, which is why we didn't write it down. And so each time, although we just looked at this number, well, that's because if we try to multiply by 1, we'd just get the same number anyway. So there was no point worrying about it. So this is a more powerful, more general technique, which always works for almost every kind of quadratic expression. There are some that won't factorize, but this will work for any expression that will factorize. So let's write down the factor pairs: 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, and I think that's it. So now this time we want a pair that will add up to 11 just like before, and this time it will be 3 and 8, but we're going to write this out a little bit differently. The 6x squared and the 4 aren't going to change, positive 4. But the 11x I'm going to rewrite now as being plus 3x and then plus 8x. So I've taken these two numbers and I've rewritten that as plus 3x and plus 8x. Which it is. All I've done is change the way this expression looks, nothing else. 3x plus 8x is still 11x. But writing it this way means I can do something different. I'm going to start by looking at just these first two terms, and I'm going to completely ignore these two at the end here. And I'm just going to factorize these two terms in the middle. So these two terms at the left. So the highest common factor of 6 and 3 is going to be 3. And they both have at least one x in common. So I can write them outside the bracket. And then 6x squared divided by 3x is 2x. And I'm going to be left with a plus 1 as well. 1 times 3x will give me the 3x. And then I'm just going to write down the plus 8x plus 4 just like I had before. Now that I've done that, I'm going to rewrite this bit, same as before, and this time I'm going to turn my attention to the last two terms. And this time I'm going to factorize them in exactly the same way that I factorized the first two terms. So the highest common factor of 8 and 4 is 4. They don't both have an x in common, so that's it. And now that leaves me with 2x in the brackets plus 1. We should pause at this point because something very important has happened. In this bracket I had 2x plus 1, and in this bracket I had 2x plus 1. If we've done the right thing up to this point, this will always happen. We will always have the same binomial in each bracket. If we have something different in each bracket, we have done something wrong. So this is a very important check. There's one last step. All we have to do now to finish this, we can finally write down our pair of brackets. One of them is going to be the 2x plus 1, and the other is going to be 3x plus 4. So the very easy way of thinking about this, and going from this line to this line, is just knowing that there'll always be a pair of brackets, that one of the brackets will be whatever you wrote there, and the other bracket will be whatever was left outside, in this case 3x plus 4. But if we want to really understand what's actually happening here, if we look at that expression there again, one more time, what this really is 3x multiplied by 2x plus 1, and then another term, 4 multiplied by 2x plus 1. Well, these two terms actually have a common factor. They're both multiplied by 2x plus 1. So what's actually happening in this line here is we're taking 2x plus 1 out as a factor, as a common factor. This is what's going outside the bracket, as it were. So we're putting 2x plus 1, all of it, outside the bracket, and then what's left was the 3x plus 4.